In the previous video on the Burge 5 YouTube channel, Pepaw's truck got a new fuel tank. Oh, but there is trouble. The carburetor doesn't carb. No chooch in the pooch.
Notice the angle of my dangle is not proportional to the heat of my meat, if you know what I mean, if you're a Saturday Night Live fan. No battery. Ready? Yeah. Iron hole.
I don't think he knows what firing a hole means.
Alright, in the last video we got the fuel tank swapped out, but I noticed, I think we got so much trash in the carb that it's not wanting to pump on the accelerator. I'm pretty sure that thing's clogged up. Of course, we went ahead and put 2 new filters in it, so got a new filter here and got a new filter down there before the pump, so it's really clean, it's looking good. But I think I need to pull this carb off so we can clean out the accelerator pump slot. It's not wanting to give us that pre-shot, so just got to know a few things here. So we'll take the line off, got to take the vacuum line off there. We'll take the choke rod off here, and the lever, we've got 2 bolts, and you know, the accelerator cable. And once we get that off, we should be able to crack that thing open and see what it looks like. So go ahead and get started on that now. Okay, we'll take off the clip for the throttle. We got to just take the bracket off here in the back. Slide that out and set it over here to the side. Now we just need to unhook the 2 lines here, one for the vacuum and one for the fuel. Actually had a good amount of pressure there. That's the first time that's ever shot any back out on me here, so that's good. That means a nice clean tank, clean lines, new filters. We're actually keeping some pressure up here, so that's awesome. So I'll just back this off, and I may have to get me another wrench to hold that fitting so I don't screw it out of there. I have to make sure that stays tight so that it doesn't leak there. And then the last thing we'll do here is we'll take off the vacuum port. Alright, just got the nuts off of the studs here that hold the carburetor down, so I think everything is loose. Just actually got to move the throttle lever off. Now we should be able to lift this carburetor up. It's got gas in it for sure. Looks like the gasket came off with it, so let's open that up. We'll take it to my personal workshop out here with the truck. As you can see, I set a little table up here just so I can have a little work spot here in front of the old truck. So I'll get you maybe a little closer in here where you can see, hopefully. So when you hit the accelerator pump, you pump the gas, it shoots a shot out there of fuel, which starts the vehicle. And I feel like that's probably clogged up again from all that contaminants that were inside that old tank. So we need to get that cleaned out so we can hopefully get this thing starting on its own now that we got a new tank. So let's check it out. All right, to open this, you just need to take off 4 screws on the top. That'll separate the body. This is going to be the bracket you need to keep. So let's undo those 4, and then we should be able to open that up and see what we got inside. We'll set that over here in order. Hopefully we can salvage the gasket so we don't have to go buy us a new one. Alright, I think we're going to have to pull this throttle blade back to get it separated. So let's try that here real quick. So we'll just pull that back. You can see the float is hanging here. The bowl is full, which is awesome. So that's really good. And I'm just going to set that over here on its side. So the part that we're going to look at into, and I haven't had this open since I put the new tank in, but you can see the slush that's at the bottom. I don't know how well that's picking up on camera, but you can actually see that slush that's in there. That's been what's clogging that up. Let me get a flashlight on it. So you may be able to see that slush that's down there in the bottom of the bowl. Let's get that poured out, get it cleaned up, and then that squirter is right there. You can see the brown dot, and if you can tell, that's clogged up, so it is not getting anything out there. So when this accelerator pump here pushes down, it should be shooting out fluid right outside this hole right there, and as you can see, it is not. So we need to get that cleaned up. Now with all the gas removed out of here, you can see that right there where that brown dot is, that actually should be open and free flowing. So what happens is fuel comes out of where that T-bar is. With using this accelerator pump, the pump goes down, it shoots up into a well that comes up through here. There's a check ball in there, and that allows that to be able to shoot a shot of fluid or fuel out of there to help get it started. But with it being completely clogged up, there's no way, that's no shot of that happening. So to be able to get all that out, we're going to pull that T-bar out. We'll pull the spring in the ball, so don't lose that. And we're also going to remove, right over here, there's a clip that is right underneath here. We're going to pull that clip out, and then we can actually pull this pump assembly out and begin to start cleaning that out. Let's begin to pull this out. So first we'll start with this T-bar. Oops. So when I pull that out, I don't know if you've seen that, if you caught that, but the spring actually came out. We don't want to lose that. Actually fell down in here inside of the carburetor. So if you notice, I got the there's some fuel in there and the ball, so I got, oops, don't lose it. I got the spring and ball. I'm going to put it in magnetic pan so I don't lose anything. That's going to open us up for be able to spray that out really well. Next thing we'll do is we'll pull this clip out. This clip's right here, right on this lever. Once I pull it out, I should be able to raise the lifter up. Okay, got the little clip. Again, I'm putting it in a magnetic pan so I don't lose any of the parts. Once I do that, I should be able to push this down. If you see here, you can't push it out because the body hits it. But if you'll just push the pump down and slide that rod off, it'll allow this assembly to come up. Okay, so that's going to be your, basically your accelerator pump or your power pump. You do have a spring in here as well. We can pull it out, set it right beside there, and at this point we can begin to start cleaning it out. So I'm going to spray some cleaner down in here as well as there, and then I'm also going to take my needle and start working that out. Actually, let me try that real quick. It's going to be super hard to see, but let me see if I can show you from the inside. Yeah, it stopped completely up. I don't know if you can see that, but yep, there's a little bit of that crud coming out of it right there. I may have to start with my smaller needle and work up. It is solid. So is all that debris that was coming in from the old tank. So let me work on this. I'll clean this out and we'll be right back. You can start to see a little bit of this start to come out now. I don't know how well that's going to show up on camera there, but you can see where my needle's starting to come through, whereas before it wouldn't come through at all. Okay, and that has to be open, and you can see it wiggling there. It's got some of that fine powder on it. That's what we're trying to clean out of here. So I'll stay after it and I'll let you know here in just a moment. All right, so I've got this cleaned out quite a bit. Actually, if I run this needle through here, you can actually see it will clear now. It goes all the way through. You can see it going all the way through there. It's got a little extra room in there as well, so tells me that we got it pretty good. So I sprayed it out pretty good as well. I had to dig a lot of that out. I'm going to spray it out one more time, and let's go ahead and put this back together. My weather person, aka my son, just told me that we got a bad rainstorm coming, and here I am working outside, so we got to get this thing put back together. So I think the first thing we'll do is go ahead and put the accelerator pump back in. So we're going to put this in here. I think I'm actually going to take a little bit of just a fine lube and put on here, because I want it to make sure that it has a good seal. Well, maybe I won't, just because I don't want to have issues. with any kind of something holding it, and it actually goes through pretty good. It is possible we might need to replace that at some point. Going to the bottom side here, if I flip this over, should be able to move the bracket up here. I don't know if you can see that very well, but slide the pump down. Actually, we gotta wait a minute. We got a spring that needs to go on the bottom of that. So we need a spring to go in there. This rests on the inside of that spring. That'll go inside this rod here. Make sure I get the spring centered up right, because it does sit in there a certain way. Okay, then we'll take the pump and slide it in the channel. We want the inside of the spring to be on the outside of the pump. Okay, now that we got the pump down with the spring to return it, now we can go ahead and push it down, connect this lever. So once we get the lever back up in on the pump, we can put the clip back on it. Actually, let me use the needle nose here, might be a little easier. Okay, got it through, so now I can get the clip. I'm gonna grab it with the needle nose, probably a little easier to slide the clip in. Alright, got the clip on, so the lever's in, so we should be to go there. Okay, so you can see the action's working here. I'm just going to have to make sure and put the throttle lever on the other side when I go to put the top back on. So now we need to put the check ball back in to the valve that we just cleaned out. So we're going to drop the ball in there. Hopefully it still seats the way it was. We'll put the spring on top of that. Then we'll put the T-bar in. The T-bar is what holds the spring down and holds the ball down. So there's that. It allows travel for the spring to move, and there's a couple slots inside this well where the T-bar goes into. So you can see I've got it started right there. What I'll do is I'll just slightly push it down. You don't have to get crazy with it. See where it's flush there? It's going to hold it into place. So now it should be good to go. Next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and put the top back on. The gasket's still good, so we should be able to get it back in there into place. So what we'll do is hopefully get all this turned the right way. I'm not going to clean out the needle and seat, although I should, but I'm running out of time with this with the issue of this rain. So I'm going to slide this down, but one thing I got to do is move my throttle lever on the other side of that. So lift the body up, come down just easy. Okay, so now we got the top half on, the lever's in the right place. As you can see, we got a spring action for return. Okay, and we'll put the 4 screws back in. So and don't forget, we have one of them that carries the bracket, which is going to be on this back side. So I'm going to go ahead and start that one here first. Boy, that wind's really getting it too. Probably don't have a whole lot of time before a rainstorm comes in. I'll go ahead and get all 4 of them started. Okay, now that we got all the bolts started in here, we won't tighten them down too tight one by one. I think we need to get them all going and get them all started, get them flush. We'll tighten them down together. One thing we want to make sure is we don't over tighten on each side, so we can have a good seal with that gasket. Make the best out of what we got. So once I get it in position, we'll kind of get it snug, and then we'll go to all 4 corners, and almost kind of like you're going to do with your tires. Tighten it up. We're not going to get too crazy or over tight. And remember, each time you tighten them, the other one's probably going to get a little bit loose, so we don't want to get too crazy. Just snug, good snug. Let the gasket do its job. Okay, now we have everything back together, so we just need to put it back on the vehicle. Just connect the vacuum line, fuel line, the throttle cable, and the choke cable, and the throttle lever. So once we do that, we should be able to put it back in and fire it up. I bet you this thing's going to run. All right, now that we got the carburetor put back together, let's slide it back on. Let's get everything mounted back up. Start with the 2 carburetor mounting nuts. Get one started here and get one started on the back side. Okay, we'll run those down and we'll tighten those the same way we did kind of the bowl. We want them to go down equally, not over tighten them, because we want a good seal. Okay, so now it's just kind of starting to make a little snug. Probably have to let this thing cool off too, or dry out, because it's not a great idea to have your gasoline dropping all over your manifold before you start it. So keep that in mind, kids. Next thing here, I'll go ahead and hook up my vacuum line. I'll actually show you right here. This connects right here. It's a little 3/8 nut, ferrule nut set up. So I'll come back and tighten that with the wrench. And then we can go ahead and hook our fuel line back together, which is basically an old brake hose, brake line that's going into a fitting. So it's whatever works though. Get a couple wrenches, tighten it up. Okay, got my wrench for it, but I also want to make sure I hold this nut here so I don't over tighten it. So use your 9/16 inch. And I think that's got it good. Shouldn't leak. Then I'll use my 3/8 wrench to come down here and tighten this vacuum line. Again, we're not going to over tighten it. It's brass. It should seal for us. And then the next thing we're going to do is hook up that throttle lever, and then we'll hook up the choke cable. So got my screwdriver. I think I'll go ahead and put the choke cable back in real quick. So I'll slide that stem through the holder, and then I'll need to slide the bare wiring through there. Just need to get enough to hold that, which is good. I'll go ahead and tighten this one here first. It's the one that actually holds the housing cable to keep it from sliding back and forth. I'll make sure that the choke is completely open, then I'll tighten the screw. This is going to be the set screw that controls the inside of the cable, that controls how much pull you have on it. Next thing here, we'll go ahead and hook up the throttle lever. You can see it right here. So throttle lever just hooks into there. I gotta put the little E-clip on the stem and it'll be good to go. Okay, the clip is on. I don't know if you can see that real good, but the clip is on the throttle linkage. We got everything hooked back up. I probably should have went ahead and filled the bowls up. That way we could have had some ready to go. Good thing is we already got some here in the fuel. I think I'll go ahead and pour a little bit of gas in here to fill the bowl. Double check the accelerator pump. We'll see if we can get it started. I'll throw this battery cable on and let's see what I can do. Okay, the battery's hooked up. Put a little bit of fuel inside there. I don't know if it's got good enough connection, but let's see if it'll start. It's starting to rain, so I'd sure like to see what it's going to do. Leaking, idling. I got to do a bit more tuning on it for sure, but hey, it's running. That was a quick cleaning on it real fast. You can tell by those one barrels they're not too bad. Do have to do some work here on these old deals. They're rusted out. My God, I got the best beds. Lots to do on this old truck, but hey, you can see that it's running. Pumping lots of fuel, good clean fuel. See if we can reach in here and give it a little bit of gas. Oh yeah. Still got the old tank I need to get rid of it. But man, running. I guess real key is going to see if it'll start. But that'll probably do it for this video. At least we got it cleaned out, got it running. So we'll wait for the next project, see what we can continue to do on this whole thing. Well, I couldn't resist it before I put everything up. I got to see if it'll at least pull up out of its tracks. So let's give it a shot.
Kids, Pepaw's 1956 Chevy Flatbed moves again.
See if we can go get a drag race. Much better. Starting it without having to pour a gallon of gas down it. So